Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, y'all know what time it is. Anytime you see the ladies singing, you know the show's coming to an end. Great show today lined up for you. We talk Giannis Antetokounmpo and complete domination on Detroit. Then Jason Tatum does what Jason Tatum always does, is be the man. Ridiculous what he did to Brooklyn. Then we talk some baby Blazers. They beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves fall to 500 on the year at 6-6. Where do you go to get your answers? Do you think the trade is working for DiVincenzo, who had 3 points, and then Julius Randle, who looks like he's going through the motions? I don't know if that was a wise trade for Minnesota, but hey, look, if it's going to work, it's going to work. Then you had the Bulls. The Bulls beat the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. And that was a good game. That was a really good game. So if you're the Knicks, you kind of hope that things are going to work out chemistry-wise, but you can see already how Karl-Anthony Towns is making New York his team. And I thought it was a collective effort when you had DiVincenzo, even Julius Randle when he was hurt, but OG Anunoby out of Indiana by way of Toronto, and then he's down in he's playing with the Knicks. And then you had Hart and Brunson, and these guys were collectively a scrappy unit and played for one another. I wouldn't mess with that nucleus, but they have now. And I like Karl-Anthony Towns. He's a former three-point champion. The guy can light up the scoreboard, and he's made New York his team in this short amount of time. And it just seems like everybody else is trying to search for their own role in the offense. So congratulations to him. So from that, we go to Cleveland. This is for you. The Cleveland Cavaliers just punk out the Philadelphia 76ers. This was a home game for Philly, and it was a game they needed. Now at 2-9, Nick Nurse, he's got to be fired. That dude is awful. Outside of him, Doc Rivers is probably the other horrible coach that's still walking around here drawing a paycheck. This game was, it broke your heart. It broke your heart. If you remember the toughness and the grit of Allen Iverson and Eric Snow and an aging Mutombo and those guys going out fighting as hard as they can to bring a title to Philly, this was none of that. They basically rolled over and took whatever Cleveland was dishing. That was embarrassing. And you go back and you look at it again, Cleveland, they share the ball really well. They get out in transition. They play through the whistle, and they don't stop attacking the rim. That's what I love about them. But when you look at this, Philly was thoroughly outscored in every quarter, except the second. They only got outscored one time. This game was out of reach. It was out of reach, and it was after halftime. They came out, they extended that record. And you thought they would slow down, but the third quarter looked like the fourth quarter. And all that max money y'all paid Paul George for what? Give me a quick 20 from an unofficial sponsor of the show. We'll finish this out. This is Big Vern. Drop the spot. Taco Bell, Live Moss. Order online, download the app, or visit the good folks at your local Taco Bell. Taco Bell, Live Moss. If you have the app, you can try the Big Cheez-It, you can try the Cantina Chicken menu, online exclusives, and the Cravings menu as well. If you go into that online exclusive, there's the Veggie Builder own Cravings box, along with the meal for two and many more. Taco Bell, Live Moss. And shout out Taco Bell. So if we're talking about the awful Philadelphia 76ers, the Philadelphia 76ers took 43 three-pointers, Who's shooting like that? Honestly, 43? Come on, man. And the fact they only made 14, stop shooting them. You proved you can't shoot. Why would you continue to do that? That was shameful. And you sitting here and at some point you shrug your shoulders and you got to say to yourself, how is this a thing? How is this a thing? They got out rebounded on the defensive side of the ball, 37-33. 25 assists. They really moved the ball really well. Like I said, Cleveland would. 11 turnovers. But here's the telling. They gave up 42 points in the paint. Some of this stuff was mirroring each other until you got to that three-point line, and it was just atrocious. It was atrocious. They got out-rebounded. They got out-hustled. And at one point, they even got out-toughed. This thing it wasn't close. And I don't think people understand when you break a team, there's nothing they can do. Donovan Mitchell, he had a double-double. He had 13 rebounds and 23 points. He had 9 assists. He was an assist away from a triple-double. Everybody scored on Cleveland's team. Everybody. The bench. Not one person didn't score and not one person didn't play. It's the very definition of team ball. That's why the Cavaliers are 13-0. And then when you look at the 76ers, the same guy that they sat there and they need to show up because you paid him a lot of money, he ain't play. He ain't play. So there was no Paul George. Why? Yep, no Paul George. Kyle Lowry. How is he still drawing a check? Come on, man. Kelly Oubre's been playing some of the best basketball I've watched in the last 2 years. Since he's gotten to Philly, Kelly Oubre has been lights out. He has been lights out. But, yeah, I just don't know where you go with that. Jared McCain, the rookie from Duke, he had 34 points and 10 assists. I mean, where else are you going to get it from? And pretty much that was it. Eric Gordon is still doing this. Wow. Eric Gordon is still doing this. And Kenyon Martin Jr., I feel like they should have held on to him in Cleveland. Kenyon Martin Jr. is a lot better than what Philadelphia is using him for. I don't think that Philadelphia is giving him enough run. I don't think Philadelphia is playing him up to his potential. Give me another rap album, man. Then I'll close this out. This is Big Vern. Drop the spot. It's your boy Big Vern coming to you live from the App Studio promoting another rap album. Young Roddy and Jamal, the company you keep. In stores now. Get it where you legally consume music, whether it be Apple Music, Google Play, or Spotify. My personal favorites on the track is Flu Game, Members Only, If You Know, You Know, and We Them Ones. Young Roddy and Jamal, in stores now, the company you keep. Yeah, shout out to Roddy doing his thing, Jet Life. It's your boy Big Vern. So closing this out, I'm happy for Donovan Mitchell. I'm happy he got out of Utah and then he came to Cleveland. I'm happy with the pieces that they put together. JB Bickerstaff wasn't a bad coach. I felt like the general manager disrespected him. They got someone in there they like. Good for them. JB is in Detroit. Good for them. Detroit is playing a lot of great, inspiring basketball. And they happen to have a better record than the Milwaukee Bucks right now. So shout out to that. Going forward, I will say this in closing, okay? Donovan Mitchell showed up to the NBA playoffs about 3 years ago, and he was in the crowd at a Boston game. And I was watching it, and it sent chills down my spine, not because he was there looking at Jason Tatum and Brown and everything and watching those guys and how they play for each other. It was very eerie and similar to when Isaiah Thomas was watching Larry Bird and Magic Johnson in the playoffs, and he was wanting that same thing. I said, y'all got a live dog on y'all's hand now, Cleveland, because he wanted to see up front what the monster was. And it's not that he wanted to link up and go to Boston. He wanted to beat Boston. And he knows he has to go ahead and get his championships off Jason Tatum. The hunters are now the hunted. And Cleveland is leading the pack. If you're going to say, I can get an Eastern Conference game right now, I will tell you an Eastern Conference final is Boston and Cleveland. And it would be top billing. It would be top billing. Because you have the very epitome of team game versus team game. And you're only going to get your superstars to rise to the top. Look, everybody, that's the show. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate everything. We'll be back Friday with our breakdown of the college football playoffs. It's your boy, Big Vern, signing off, and I'm out.